What is today? Monday? Just kidding. Sunday? No. Saturday. Time for some Slay Security Plus. I'm going to let everybody maybe come to class today. We'll see where we're at. It's been an absolutely bonkers week. It's been kind of a bonkers weekend thus far, and I did not get a chance to pre-set up the restream. And so we're kind of just taking a rip off of it live. I hope everybody's doing well out there. If you're catching this live, if you're catching this on Team Replay, it's Saturday. It's about 4 p.m. on the Eastern Coast, and that is when we stream Slay Security Plus. My name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy, and my goal with this live stream is to help you pass your CompTIA Security Plus certification, as we know that is typically the first fundamental cybersecurity high-level certification that you get when you're getting into the industry, or maybe your boss wants you to get this certification to help increase your payroll, your bank account, more money. And we want to do that through live, inclusive study sessions. That's what we're here. That's what we do. So hang out, take a seat. Hopefully you're not driving and watching this. If you are, make sure your seatbelt's on. Played a gig last night, a show for these kind folks, for Teddy Morris, Harley Davidson here in Western Colorado. It was an epic show with my jam band. We had a great time. Good people out there. I hope you're doing well. Let's kick things off. I see some people getting into chat. Please drop a line in chat. Let me know how you're doing. How is your journey? I'll make sure chat is working. Is the audio okay? Is the video okay? Talk to me. Let me know how it's going. How is your Security Plus journey going? Where are you in your certification process? Are you just here to hang out? Have a good time. You're welcome to do that too. That's what we're here for. You know, one of the things that really frustrates me, hey, IPv7 Cybertech Pro, glad to be a part of today's live study. Well, we are glad to have you for today's live study. You know, let's do this. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre's at the door, ready to make things up. Happy Saturday, Jesse. Where's the video of your show? Of last night's rock and roll show. I'll have to figure out if our drummer got a video of that. I will say one of the things that really freaks me out is zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks. And you know how I thwart zero-day and supply chain attacks from our session sponsor, ThreatLocker. Listen, worry no more, and I want to harden my security with ThreatLocker as well as yours. Worldwide companies trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations moving. ThreatLocker takes a deny by default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for your risk management and compliance. Their onboarding and their operation is fully supported by their Cyber Hero US-based support team. If you're interested, if your boss is interested, if your mom is interested, if Dr. Jerry Ozier's Aunt Dorothea is interested, get them a free 30-day trial and see how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit our good friends at threatlocker.com to get that 30-day trial rocking and rolling. Gerbil72, feliz sábado. Yep. Happy Saturday to you as well. Let's get this party started. See where we're at on time. Starting a little late, so we'll probably go a little late. And get some caffeine flowing through coursing through the veins, as it was somewhat of a late night. That's all right. That's what we do. Let's get this party started. As always, we start every study session off with a PBQ or a performance-based question. If you're just getting into it, this may sound like repeat to you. If you've heard all this before, go get yourself a cup of coffee, get yourself a ice cold fizzy water, a cup of water, maybe perhaps an adult beverage, whatever you need. Go get yourself a snack while I tell the people that maybe this is their first time. Hey, Tick Ricky, welcome to the party. So one of the things that freaks some people out is that the CompTIA Security Plus starts off The first maybe 1 through 6 questions, you might get 1, you might get 6. They're called PBQs, or performance-based questions. They are a more practical, hands-on approach to answering the Security Plus questions. They usually are a combination of a scenario that you get, followed by an action of some kind. In this case, it's drop-down selectors. It might be a combination of drop-down selectors, drag and drop, fill in the blank, things like that. And so I recommend that 2 things: that you take your PBQs at the end after you get through your multiple choice. This way you might answer some of those questions through the multiple choice. Also, it gets your cybersecurity juices flowing. I got a burp coming. Excuse me. Thank you. All right, it gets those cybersecurity juices flowing in your brain so you're ready to answer some questions. And I want to get people used to seeing what they look like. Sometimes we get them 100% correct. Sometimes we miss them, and that's okay, because remember, you do get partial credit for your PBQs. The components that you answer correctly, you do get credit for. So it's super important that you answer every component of the question. Don't leave anything blank. We probably have done this one before. It's definitely been a while, but I think this PBQ, some of the others are really lengthy, and they're not really, they quiz you, but they're not a very good representation of what the real deal is like. While the real deal PBQs are harder in some cases than the multiple choice, they're not quite as lengthy as some of the example ones. So I try and pick the example ones that, in my experience, and some of our other students' experience, are closer to the real deal. This one simulates a similar question. You might get something like this. Maybe it's a GRC question, hashtag GRC Mafia. Maybe it is a firewall question, hashtag network engineers. Either way, this is a good example of what a PBQ looks like. Real quick, I'd like to try and address chat. I know that frustrates some folks through here just for the questions. If that's you, just bump ahead, just scoot there, we'll get to it. Hey, Jesse. Hey, Coding Crypto Fitness. Good to see you. I have an interview Monday for a cybersecurity position in one of the largest investment firms in the UK. Let's go, UK. I watch a lot of British Bake Off, which I know that doesn't make me at all UK, but I like British TV. Doctor Who's one of my favorites, and I watch a ton of the Great British Bake Off, or I guess it's the British baking show these days, but it's awesome. I haven't even sat for my CompTIA Sec Plus yet. That's okay. There is a misconception that you need to have the Security Plus to get into cybersecurity. That is absolutely not true. What the Security Plus does is it helps you when you're getting for a resume, and all a resume does is it gets you lined up for the interview. Once you get through the interview process into an interview of some kind, that means that you've already done good enough in your resume. For a lot of companies, because the Security Plus has been around for so long, it has established itself as the premier or the desired entry-level certification that a lot of employers are looking for. Doesn't mean you have to have it, but it definitely helps, at least through some of those hiring filters. All right, let's get started. So a PBQ looks like this. You get a scenario. It's good to read through the scenario a couple times, go back. I always recommend clicking on all the different components, see what you can interact with, and figure out what you cannot interact with. You've heard me say this before. There are horror stories of people that have missed questions because they didn't realize they could interact with a component of the performance-based question. Let's read our scenario. As a security consultant for a newly launched information technology company, you have assisted in the security planning process to ensure the best security controls are in place. However, an organization cannot realistically plan for every situation, so processes and procedures must be fluid and adjusted as security issues arise. With all things considered, the company has asked you to extend your consulting work, past the initial planning process to assist with any security issues that arise within the first few months of business. You will also help select security controls to resolve any such issues. Okay, so we're a consultant, got our side hustle on. Maybe we've been in the industry for a while. Maybe we're doing some volunteer work. Maybe we're doing some volunteer work for a school or a nonprofit, right? This is a great way to get hands-on experience, especially if you've got maybe your first certification. You've done some, maybe some Try Hack Me or some Hack the Box, or you've worked in your home lab, is to go out and find yourself a school, a nonprofit, maybe somebody who's less fortunate, and offer to do complimentary cybersecurity consulting. That might be running vulnerability scans in their environment. Make sure you're very clear on the scope of your work so that you don't break anything in production or that could impact business operations, patient care, things of that nature. But it is totally on you to build your own portfolio, right? You, like Dr. Jerry Ozier says, like I like to say, you have to be the CEO of you. Nobody's going to do it for you. You've got to invest in yourself. And sometimes you need to ask others to invest in you. That might be like, say, hey, friend, hey, partner, hey, mom and dad, would you help me pay for this certification? Raise money, do a GoFundMe. You've got to look out for you, right? This is a dog-eat-dog world, and as inclusive as cybersecurity is, a lot of us inclusive friends and family can be applying for the same job. And so people are looking for experience. Experience is king over certifications. It just is. Libraries, exactly, Sierra Montgomery. Libraries, elderly, are great places as well. It doesn't mean that you need to become their network engineer or run the SOC, right? But maybe you can do some vulnerability assessments. Maybe you can say, hey, I'll volunteer some time to do some cybersecurity awareness. Maybe if you have the tech chops, you can do some Active Directory auditing and make sure the permissions are up to snuff. You can put this real world hands-on experience on your resume. It shows that you're putting gusto, you're putting your best foot forward. It shows that you're taking initiative, and then you can communicate to maybe non-tech people. All right, get off that soapbox. We're consulting. We got some work to do. The IT admin saying the last attack did some real damage. We need to add systems that identify malicious activity on our network immediately. Okay? All right, what is the security control that is the remediation needed? Do we need a managerial control, an operational control, a physical control, or a technical control? Remember that technical is usually computers, right? Hardware, software. That's going to be our technical controls. Physical controls are barriers, alarms, physical locks, things that you can touch. Operational control is anything that has to do with humans, so day-to-day operations. And then our managerial controls are things that are coming from top down. These are rules that are put into place by our bosses. Yeah, I like Coding Crypto. Can you suggest some good SIMs and vulnerability scanners? I tried to download Splunk, but couldn't get it to work. I like, for vulnerability scanning, I really like Nessus. I think you can still get the community edition for free. It works in an enterprise environment, and you get a nice print up. You kind of got to be careful because you'll get a lot of false positives, but I like Nessus, and I also like, is it Zap? Vulnerability scanner. And then there's another one that I'm thinking of that I haven't used in a long time, but it's green. It's got a green interface and a green logo. And then for SIMs, I like an Elk stack, right? Elk is Elastic, Logstash, and Kibana interface. That's a great one. It takes a little bit more time to set up. If you can also, the Splunk one works as well. But I do like the Elk stack for a SIM and the vulnerability scanners. I do like Nessus quite a bit, and you can get the community edition, which is free and pretty simple to set up. It's going to drive me crazy to not think of that vulnerability scanner because I've used it before. It's a well-known one, so if you know it. So OpenVAS, vulnerability assessment scanner. That's a great one that you can use as well. So OpenVAS. And then for a cool SIM solution, look at Waza. That's another good one to check out. All right, people are dropping answers in chat. We're rolling with technical. I agree. It looks like we need something to add a system. A lot of times this keyword will be kind of a giveaway. We need a system to identify malicious activity on our network immediately. We know what we're talking about: computers here, networking equipment. So it's going to be a technical control. The functional type of remediation needed. Do we need a compensating, a corrective, a detective, a deterrent, a directive, or a preventative control? And the key word in this question, I almost pointed like you guys can see my hand, to add systems that identify malicious activity. That keyword right here, identify, is going to lead us into the answer we want here. So do we want something that's compensating, a corrective control, a detective control, deterrent, directive, or preventative? Coding Crypto is asking in chat, can you use the free version of Nessus on VMs? Yes. You can spin up your own environment and then run Nessus on it to get used to it, and then take it into the wild for some of your vulnerability assessments and some of your volunteer work. IPv7 CyberTech Pro is rolling with Detective. Coding Crypto Fitness is also rolling with Detective. Coding Crypto Fitness, what do you like to do for workouts? I'm running a push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, legs split, which has been pretty fun. I only have like an hour though, so I do it during my lunch breaks. What kind of workouts do you like? And then I do some steady state, low intensity cardio to keep the dad bod at a mim. Anybody else? Anybody else in class? Compensating, corrective, detective, deterrent, directive, or preventative? What do we need? We need something to identify the malicious activity on our network. Give you a few more seconds to throw an answer in chat, and then I'm going to go with the two that I see in the chat as we speak. Anything different? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Accounting for the delay in chat. Right, we want something detective. We want something that's going to detect and identify the malicious activity on our network immediately. Notice it didn't say anything about preventative. It just says we need to identify this malicious activity on our network. So something like an IDS, intrusion detective system. All right, now what control remediation do we need? Do we want to install a barrier, install an alarm, install a key card, perform a security audit, set up a firewall, or update our policy? Coding Crypto Fitness. At the moment, I just do lots of walking. I don't lift anymore. My gran passed away late last year, and I lost the motivation to keep on lifting. Coding Crypto, that speaks to my heart. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your gran. My grandma is in her elderly states and is having some medical issues. And so I feel for you, man. I truly, 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 truly feel for you. I'll tell you what, though. Think of it this way, and this may be me speaking into something. If I'm overstepping a boundary, please feel free to reach out to me. Look for that motivation to keep lifting, right? We know that having some muscle mass is a great indicator of longevity. Do it for your gran. Get back in the gym and lift because she couldn't. She can't lift anymore, right? Because she's not here, you can lift. So maybe you can influence somebody else who, if they don't get in shape, they're going to pass away before they're supposed to, or be more prone to illness. So use that, turn that into motivation. Yep, get back into it, get back on it one day. There is no rush. And I know I can speak for myself. I know people like Sierra Montgomery, Tech Ricky, we're here for you. So if you ever want to reach out and chat, I know that's not what this is for, but we're an inclusive community. And I do believe that cybersecurity and being in the community goes far beyond just the technical stuff. We should be willing to help each other in time of need. So feel free to reach out to me, LinkedIn, Discord. Be happy to trade mobile phone numbers. If you need any kind of support at all, or you just want someone to chat, I can be an ear, because loss is hard, and I fully understand. Yeah, we want to set up a firewall, right? So something to think about as we turn our attention back to the question is, we know it's a technical, and I want to keep something in mind. The alarm, the barrier, and the key card Those are all physical controls. So you can take those 3 off the board. Performing a security audit is going to let us know whether we have these controls in place or not, but it's not going to do anything to detect. Updating policy is probably important, but that's not going to do anything on the technical side because updating policy is not a technical control. The only technical control that's here is set up a firewall. So you've answered that one. All right, scenario 2. You're welcome, Coding Crypto. We got you. CEO, our employees are visiting bad, unsecure websites way too often. But have we even stated that they shouldn't be doing this yet? Do we need a managerial, an operational, a physical, or a technical control here? Our employees on the day-to-day, our humans, are visiting unsecure and nasty websites way too often. But have we even stated that they shouldn't be doing this yet? What are we looking for here? And it's funny because the CEO has like their little icon looks like somebody with like a baseball t-shirt, some jeans. That's the CEO, but the CIO, he's here in a suit. He's ready to do some work. All right, what are we looking for? Managerial, operational, physical, or technical controls? Let me know in chat. You know how we roll. Coding Crypto is saying it's operational. Can you just drop in chat, why do we think it's operational? Is it something that I said, or is there something, a combination? Is there something in the question that leads you to choose operational? So full transparency, I ran through this PBQ on my own because it's been a while. I want to make sure that I could also teach it effectively. And I chose something different and I got it incorrect. And so I see a lot of people choosing operational. Now that I reread the question and I understand what they're looking for, why do you all think it's operational? Tech Ricky, am I going to see you in Deadwood this year? do I have my Airbnb set up yet? I think I'm running behind. I got DEF CON taken care of, and I've got Simply CyberCon taken care of, but I don't know if I have Deadwood taken care of. Might have to find a floor or a couch to sleep on somewhere. Coding Crypto, day-to-day of the employees. Yep, day-to-day of the humans. That's operational. Our employees, so on the day-to-day, they're visiting bad, unsecure websites way too often. But have we stated that they shouldn't be doing this yet? The correct answer is most likely operational, right? I chose managerial, but I understand now that this is dealing with humans. We're dealing with the human capacity. So when you see questions that are dealing with the humans, the day-to-day, that's going to be an operational control. All right, do we need a compensating, a corrective, detective, a directive, or a preventative control? Compensating, corrective, detective, deterrent, directive, or a preventative control? Exactly, Tech Ricky. The last part asking, have we even stated they shouldn't be doing this yet? Coding Crypto Fitness saying it's a directive control. Anybody else have something different? All right, Tech Ricky, hit me up. Yes, we'll be in Deadwood this year. We were getting an Airbnb with Luke. I think we'll have rooms open. Let me know. Hit me up on the LinkedIn. Or I don't know if you have my mobile or not, but hit me up. Hit up Luke J to see. Okay. Sierra Montgomery coming in off the rip. She says directive. I agree. We need something coming down. Some kind of policy that will affect the operational day-to-day, right? What kind of control do we need? Do we need to install an alarm so that every time somebody goes to a bad website, it goes, "Wee-doo, wee-doo, wee-doo." Do we want to install a physical barrier? Maybe it's a physical key card. Do we want to perform a security audit? Do we want to set up a firewall? Or do we want to update policy? Hashtag GRC Mafia. What do we want to do, team? I can hear Tech Ricky say it. Tech Ricky has a slight southern draw, and I can hear him right now. Update that policy, fam. I agree. Update the policy. So we've got an operational control, something that is affecting the day-to-day. The functional remediation type needed is directive. It's got to come from top down. This directive is going to affect our operation. And then what? We don't have anything, right? So we need to update policy. Hey, DJ BSEC, what's going on? Good to see you. Also saying policy. The last time we did this question, I remember very clearly DJ BSEC was a co-host on the show. That's how long it's been. All right, the final scenario, our CIO or our Chief Information Officer. It appears that anyone could possibly walk into the server room. We need to evaluate and ensure that only authorized people can enter. Yes, I'm finding that out now as I'm working closely with our director because we're trying to implement controls. And unless there's a policy, I really can't do it because then we're potentially slowing down patient care. I work in healthcare, cybersecurity, or business operations, however you want to look at it, right? So everything needs to have a policy behind it. That's what we're tackling right now is policy, policy, policy. What do we need, folks? Anyone can just walk into the server room willy-nilly. Do we need a managerial control, an operational control, a physical control, or a technical control? What are we thinking? Pretty straightforward. Yeah, we want to implement some kind of physical control, something that people can touch. Sandex, good to see you. It's been a long time. Hope you're doing well. Poner Joe, welcome to the party, pal. What up, everyone? BT Dubs. Hey, Poner Joe. Good to see you. I see a lot of these kind folks every day, so it's cool. It's like we're a little community here. I almost said family, but that might sound a little culty. But I see a lot of these folks in the morning for the daily cyber threat brief, and then I'll see some of you in the Black Hills Information live streams and podcasts, Tyler Ramsby's podcasts and live streams. It's super cool. I love it. All right. Do we want to do something compensating, corrective, detective, deterrent, directive, or preventative? Do we want to do a preventative control, a directive control, a deterrent control, a detective control, corrective, or compensating? And it's super important to remember, this is pretty black and white. The lines are kind of crossed here. But a lot of times you can have something that's both a preventative and a deterrent at the same time, right? The cult of cosmic cowboys. That's hilarious. Tony Parrish, it's been a minute. Welcome back to the party. Coming off the rip, physical control. All right, I agree. Pretty straightforward. We need a physical control, and we need it to be preventing. We need to prevent unauthorized access to the server room. All right, what kind of control remediation? Do you want to install an alarm, install a barrier, install a key card, perform a security audit, set up a firewall, or update policy? Exactly, BSAC. We're preventing individuals that aren't supposed to be there from just walking into the server room willy-nilly. This is my epic 90s style thrift store shirt. I do have Native American heritage, and so I feel like I can appropriate this shirt as well. Not that it matters. I just want to throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? It's 2025. You never know what people are going to think. You know what I'm saying? We want a key card. So we can take off update policy. We can take off set up a firewall. We can take off perform a security audit. Our only 3 questions, because they're physical here, are install an alarm, install a barrier, or install a key card. I like Sierra's answer. Key card or a bouncer. How about a key card and a bouncer? A bouncer, that's awesome. I can just see some big old dude standing there. What you want? You cannot pass. All right. Install a key card. I agree, right? We've got some logging enabled, so we have an audit trail for our auditing. Also non-repudiation. A person using their key card can't say that they didn't. But more importantly, a key card would be preventative, and it would allow that only authorized people can enter. If you've got your card, let's say it's legit, you didn't steal it, you didn't manufacture your own version of the same key card, but this is your key card, the one that was issued to you, then you can get in because you're authorized. An alarm would only sound when people go in, even if whether they're authorized or not. Let's say they're not, it's an alarm. There's no preventative measure there. A barrier, sure, that would prevent everybody. We want to make sure only authorized people can enter. Our correct answer here is key card. This looks good. Let's send it. Oh, and for full transparency, like I think I said the last time, I put managerial here on this answer, and I got it incorrect. 9 out of 9, 100%. We've done this question a few times. This was with pretty much a completely different class last time we did this question, and this is the first time I've seen people get 9 out of 9 correct. So, great job, team. I'm going to leave it up to you all. Do we want to continue with the Professor Messer practice questions, or do we want to go back to the CompTIA or a little bit of both? I don't mind doing a little bit of both. Remember, and I feel like I have to say this every time because I just want it to be really clear, these are practice questions. They're like quiz questions to get you thinking conceptually. They're not this whole practice section is not to necessarily replicate an exam environment. If we want to do that, there's a practice assessment. This is the practice assessment. It's supposed to be a lot more like the practice test. The only problem with these is that you can only do a few. You can't like stop where you're at. It treats it like a 90-minute practice test. So once you open it, you're stuck in it. Do you want to do a little bit of the CompTIA stuff to get the juices flowing? And then maybe jump back into the Professor Messer questions? Because these are full-on practice exams. They're the best in the business. You're not going to find, I mean, truly, they really are so good. And so you get it, it's like $30. It does have their own it has their PBQs. The reason we do the CompTIA ones is because we can simulate the drag and drop and like the environment. But their PBQs, you kind of would have to draw the lines down to it physically or whatever. Like this would simulate a drag and drop. They're pretty fun, but they're not necessarily like super realistic. Yeah, let's get down here. Let's start an A20. Okay, when we go into this, go back to the CompTIA. All right, let's jump back into this section. Lesson 4, implement identity and access management. We're going to mix it up. We'll do 4 or 5 questions from here, and then we'll jump in and go to our Professor Messer practice questions. Resume action. Let's go. All right, the Chief Information Officer or CIO tasked the network administrator with redeveloping the credential policy for the company. While working on the new policy, the CEO asked why having more than one factor to log into the computers was important. You guys make me click. I don't want to click a bunch of stuff. Why is just having a password not enough in today's world? A, because employees choose poor passwords. B, because employee passwords are always secure. C, employees dislike using passwords. Or D, employees choose strong passwords. Coding crypto, if you're getting a 96% on the Professor Messer exams, you're probably ready for the real deal. Yeah, everyone is hitting this one pretty straight off the rip. Employees choose strong passwords? Well, maybe, but most likely not. And a password's not enough because that password could be credentialed, that could be harvested through a phishing email, or maybe this strong password is this employee also uses their strong password for their Netflix login, their Meta login, maybe their Twitter login. So they reuse their password. And let's just say hypothetically it was in a data breach somewhere on the dark web. It doesn't matter how strong that password is. If somebody else gets it, it can be replayed in an attack to enter the environment somehow. Employees dislike using passwords. Well, that may be the case, but that has nothing to do with why we'd want to choose multi-factor. Employee passwords are always secure, but are they really? Employees choose poor passwords. Typically they do. Even in security, even in IT and networking, I see poor password policies. I'm moving more towards passphrases. Working in healthcare, it's really hard to get 1,000 physical FIDO keys for everybody. Like Dr. Ogier was saying, it's really expensive. And so that's not really an option for us. So we do need multi-factor. But, sometimes you see passwords that aren't the best. Send it. Correct. With the number of passwords people must remember and the various complexity requirements, people typically choose passwords that threat actors can easily crack and unfortunately reuse across multiple services. Now, we really went over, I don't want to beat the dead horse on why those other answers are incorrect. All right, moving on. One of the company's accountants submitted a ticket stating that they could not access a particular section of the accounting software. Why might the accountant not have access to every part of the accounting software? A, licensing. B, discretionary access controls. C, mandatory access controls. Or D, least privilege. This is a good one because there's a couple answers here I think could be the case. Particular section of the accounting software, but they can access the software. I'm working through this question in my head as well, so let's do this in real time. Space Tacos, what is up? Hope you're doing well, friend. They're choosing answer F for fun. Licensing. Well, I don't think they'd be able to access the accounting software at all if their license wasn't valid, unless it's like a freemium type version. But remember, we got to frame this through confidentiality, integrity, availability, authorization, right? Discretionary access controls means the owner of a group can choose who can access that. So we don't think it's discretionary access controls. Mandatory access control, we talked about this last week, that has to do with this concept that the system sets a security level to the object and then to the resource, and then certain, I guess, people or systems can access that resource depending on their credential and how high it lets them. So I don't think it's access control, but least privilege. Yep. Mandatory would be labeled, right? Discretion is the owner allows access. Yeah, mandatory has to do with labels. Very good. We label the confidentiality level and then the object, and then people with certain clearances can either access up to that confidentiality level. So I think our answer here is least privilege. Maybe they can access just the general dashboard, but they can't actually go any further into the software. Space Tacos, it's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute. I agree with Sierra. It's really good to see you. We should jump on a call, do another live stream together. That was so fun. Correct. To increase security posture of any given system, users should only have the necessary access to complete their work and nothing more. Why are the other answers incorrect? Well, depending on the software, not having specific license prevents users from accessing all of a given software. However, the most common reason is least privilege. Exactly. So licensing could be an issue, but really this has to do, we're framing this in a cybersecurity mindset, right? Confidentiality, integrity, availability, authorization. The resource owner has primacy in a discretionary access control. Every resource and owner who creates, file, or service, although another user can receive ownership right. Security clearance levels form the basis of MAC, or mandatory access controls. Rather than defining access control lists on a resource, each object receives a classification label. Depending on a clearance level, a subject receives access to that resource. And we beat that one with we beat that dead horse last week. So let's move on. Why might it be a bad policy to set up permissions individually instead of using an access control methodology? A, it's harder to manage. B, it allows for more control. C, it allows for less control. Or D, it's easier to manage. While you look through that, I'm going to catch up with Space Tacos here. Glad you stopped by to say hi. Good to see everyone here working hard on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah, we're flying through it today. We're crushing. It's been pretty good engagement too today. Said this before, whether we've got one person in class or we've got 1,000 in class, we treat it the same every time and we give everybody the best bang for their buck that we can. Hey Brenda, I saw you answer a question earlier and I didn't get a chance to say hi. Good to see you. I still need to get back to you on how to, we have a conversation about the Slate Security Plus Foundation stuff. I need to get back to you on that, as well as Space Tacos. We're trying to find a good way to make that work. Why might it be a bad policy to set up permissions individually instead of using an access control methodology? Well, it definitely doesn't. It allows for more control, but that wouldn't be bad. Allows for less control? No, because you get to do them individually. It is not easier to manage. I believe it's harder to manage. Correct. Setting each permission individually may be easier option if a file share is small. However, if a file share grows, maintaining this style of permissions can increase complexity. Correct. All right, this is an expert level question. Let's get it. An engineering firm wants to implement an authentication design that uses a framework for passwordless authentication. What statement is not accurate regarding passwordless authentication? So which of these statements is not true regarding passwordless authentication? A, the user chooses either a roaming authenticator, such as a security key, or a platform authenticator implemented by the device OS. B, the relying party uses a private key to verify the signature and authenticate the account session. C, the user registers with an application or service referred to as a relying party. Or D, when represented with an authentication challenge, the user performs the local gesture to unlock the private key. Which statement is not accurate regarding passwordless authentication? The user chooses either a roaming authenticator, such as a security key or a platform authenticator implemented by the OS. That is true. The relying party uses a private key to verify the signature and authenticate the account session. The user registers with a web application or service referred to as a relying party. When presented with an authentication challenge, the user performs the local gesture to unlock the private key. So going back to your question, coding crypto on ABAC or attribute-based access controls is what I'm thinking you're getting at. That is a little bit like role-based. So you know how role-based access controls are determined by like what your role is in with the company. This can be like the attribute, the role that you have, the department you're in, time of day restrictions, geolocation. So attribute access controls might encompass one or more of those components. It's not just necessarily one thing, right? It's very similar to role-based access control. Yeah, like your user roles, what department you're in, what location you're in, little attributes, right? Things that have to do with you as the user at that given time. I hope that helps. I'm going to go with D for the sake of time, and we may get it wrong. I don't understand what they're saying here, this question with the local gesture. Is that like a curtsy? Is it a bow? Are we shaking hands? Are we high-fiving? Like, are we giving each other a hug? I'm going to go with D. Tech Ricky, Coding Crypto, says D. Let's send it. The correct answer is B. The relying party uses a private key to verify the signature and authenticate the account session. To the contrary, part of the passwordless authentication framework involves the relying party to use the public key, not private, right, to verify the signature and authenticate the account session. As part of the passwordless authentication framework, the user chooses either a roaming, right? That is true. Furthermore, the user registers with the web application software, true. Finally, when presented with an authentication challenge, performs the local gesture. Local gesture. The authentication happens on the user's device, a smartphone or a computer, using a physical action like a fingerprint scan, a facial recognition, or a PIN. Okay. Some identity and access management stuff for us to take home, put in our back pocket. Coding Crypto, so if you see one that says multiple things, e.g. location plus role in a question, yeah, it's likely attribute-based controls. Exactly. I agree. I think you're right on that one. All right, last one of the CompT, and then we're going to move into some Professor Messer for the last few minutes here. Yeah, I agree, Tech Ricky. Local gesture is a terrible term. The CISO, or Chief Information Security Officer, wants to enhance the identity and access management security procedures in the company by adding an extra layer on top of the existing procedures. Which of the following would help achieve this objective by requiring verification through multiple methods or by tying authentication to a geographic area? Select the two based options. A, increase password length. B, enable password history. C, enforce multi-factor authentication. Or D, enable location-based authentication. What do we think? So the CISO wants to add an extra layer on top of existing procedures, right? We're looking at this layered security model, defense in depth. Think of it like a castle. So if one layer fails, we got something else to back it up. Right, this is a pretty straightforward question. You all are slaying it here. Increasing password length, it does not do anything as a multiple method, right? We're just increasing the length, that's it. Enable password history, again, that's just so people can't reuse passwords. But we're trying to enforce MFA plus something else, right? Through multiple methods or by tying authentication to a geographic area. It's less the two best options. So by requiring verification through multiple methods, so there's one, or by tying authentication to a geographic area. The only two that satisfy that is enforce multi-factor and enable location-based authentication. Let's send it. Correct. Boom. All right, let's move into the Professor Messer stuff. Thank you, team. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the Party Pal. My name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy, and we are streaming some live Security Plus practice questions. I want to give a quick shout out to my mentor and friend, Dr. Jerry Ozier. Check this out while we get ready for our Professor Messer questions.
Are you feeling lost in the vast world of cybersecurity, overwhelmed by technical jargon and confusing career paths? You're not alone. That's why I built Simply Cyber. Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier. Come join Simply Cyber, your supportive and inclusive community for navigating the exciting world of cyber. There's so much to take advantage of. Master the skills you need with Simply Cyber Academy, offering in-depth courses aligned with the GRC analyst role. Never feel isolated. Connect with fellow cyber enthusiasts and professionals in our thriving Discord server. Ask questions, get feedback, share your journey. Check out the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, delivering insightful interviews. What are your thoughts around, web app pen testing as entry level? And I included Bug Bounty here because that's very accessible to everybody. Practical skill demos and daily cyber threat briefs, all hosted by industry experts. There's so much more to discover. Are you ready to join the community and empower your future? Visit simplycyber.io/socials for all the links and start your cyber adventure.
Saturday fam, I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I hope you continue to do so. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday with me to engage, talk about life, talk about Security Plus. Keep me updated on your journey. Feel free to find me anywhere that I hang out, LinkedIn, Discord. I'm typically hanging out with Dr. Jerry Ozier and the crew for the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, which is a great way to build community and get an insight to the most current attacks. So make sure you check that out every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pretty easy to find. Coding Crypto, Brenda, Tech Ricky, Space Tacos, Sierra Montgomery, IPv7, so many others that have been with us today, some of the lurkers that are on, some of you on Team Replay. Thank you for spending time with me. I gotta run. Have a wonderful weekend, and until next time, stay secure, team.